you know, I spent a lot of time drawing because I couldn't speak very well when I was a kid. My parents thought I was mute. I didn't talk till I was 5 years old. So I always using art as it's a way to communicate with people. So then, of course, when I came here, I couldn't speak very well because I couldn't speak the language. I can go back to my first day in primary school, and the teachers are so nice, so soft-spoken, and pat you in the back. I remember she came to me, greeted me, and hugged me, and bring me around the classroom and keep on asking me something, and I don't know what she was saying. So she gave me a piece of paper, and I took the paper, I wrote down the only thing I know. I wrote to NY, you know, because I sort of see this to NY on the ticket on the at the airport. So I wrote to NY. I said, ah, very good, Tony. There you go. That's how I got the name. Being an interior designer, we tend to create things. We create the intangible part, then using the tangible to envelope it. You know, so it's always about the packaging and the content. This is a perfect example. Ondas is an absolute perfect example. It's not flamboyant. It's never meant to be flamboyant. However, it is a package of soul. I think Charles Morris Mount was the most influential one that I have worked with. He had a very small office up on the Upper West Side. In those days, he's got a little small social circle. John Saladino, Joe Durso, those guys. Occasionally you get Juan Montoya stop by, you know that generation of guys. And they used to come in, Charles always cook, and they always chit-chat, drink wine. I said, oh, gee, this is a good life. I can live with this. You know, being a young designer, sometimes you don't know what you're doing. You want to do everything. You tend to be more focused, you know, to design great restaurant, you must learn how to eat. If you can't eat, you can't design. So eat. And that sort of opened up a new career for me. I think you know, back in the 80s, the restaurant got bigger. You know, those days, I mean, restaurant just so flamboyant. Then, of course, my cafe society was equally flamboyant. The money was all come from Wall Street. And the Black Monday, I think 514 points later, everybody's out of a job. But you learn something. You learn to deal with a good sense of reality. So that's the reason why I went to Asia. When I went out there was nobody out there. And you learn, you only can be a great designer if you get to practice design. If you don't practice design, your design not gonna get better. Really, so I think the 10 years I get to practice design, I draw, I design, I make mistakes, I went through the whole thing. I wanted to have this terrazzo floor with the cobalt blue and green glass chip in the terrazzo floor, and the Japanese contractor looked at me and says, what are you talking about, glass chip? And the Japanese said, nah, no such thing. I said, oh, watch me. Give me a bottle of Coca-Cola. And I drink the bottle of Coca-Cola and crash the bottle. And he said, here's a green glass. Here, put it in. So the next thing you know, the whole job site is drinking Coca-Cola. That started the relationship with the Hyatt. See, this is the regional park in Shanghai. Shanghai was an exception opportunity. First of all, it's Mori building. And they want to build this second tallest building in China. And Bill Peterson, which I love Bill's work. And Bill worked out this wonderful geometry. So pure. And I look at this building, I say, could this building be a landmark one day? And I believe it could. Not every building can, but this one can. You know, and I just want to be part of that landmark building process. I remember the day I went to make the presentation to Mr. Mori. I said, Mr. Mori, and I wrote down one word in Japanese, in kanji, means silence. And they thought, the people around the room, they thought I wanted to be quiet or nobody talks. I said, no, you can't talk. So I said, you know, I really want to build silence to contrast the city. You know, because Shanghai is absolutely crazy, you know, with all that traffic. So I say, you know, can you imagine if we create this contrast, then we have the complete cycle of the 24 hours. This is not about creating this theatrical. It's not about that. It's all about creating a form that follows certain function. My interior architecture is always very rigid. It's always based on order, always based on certain geometry. And the reason behind that is I believe in everything in my room will be chaos, including the light coming in, including all you guys are chaos. So everything in the rooms are chaos, and I use that to contain the chaos. So I practice that. So in fact, the design is actually very aggressive, but you just don't know it because I work very hard to make sure the design go away. I develop a set of vocabularies in design, and then I take these vocabulary to heart, and I try to understand what it means. I try to know how to use it. Wine wall, what is it? You know, it's wine but not a wall. I'm not a wall person. I can create the wine adjacent to the sommelier, and did I not make his life easier? Architects tend to focus on the outside quite a bit, and they tend to forget looking at things from the inside out. Clients tend to say, oh, you're architect, then you build me a trophy then. The trophy is all about the outside, it's not about the inside. How many trophies do you know that you can actually break and say, oh, what a wonderful materials. You know, design is a way of life. It's not a profession, it's not a tool, it's a philosophy. You use it to guide a way of life. You know, I have this conversation with another colleague in our industry. He says to me, I do what I do because I want what I want. I say, I do what I do because this is what I want. You know, and there's a big difference. This is all I know. I always want to be expressive. You know, it's almost like composing a wonderful symphony and nobody can hear it but me. And I do hear it every day and I like it. I like what I'm hearing.
How do you get your way, Tony?
It's not a matter of my way. I will say one thing is you have a better way. If you don't have a better way, then I think my way is the best way. But if you have a better way, I'm happy to hear it. You know, I could be wrong, but under the circumstances, here's a one option, and what is yours? Let's look at it. If nothing better than this, then this is the way we go.